Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Keep Right On podcast. I'm Alex Dicken, and as ever I'm joined by my co-host and colleague Brian Dick. Today we're joined by another special guest, this time former Birmingham City midfielder Tate Campbell. Tate was at Birmingham City for 15 years, from the academy right the way through to the first team. Tate, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, no worries. I'm good, thank you. It's good to be on the platform and looking forward to talking to you guys.
Excellent. Might as well get straight into it. Tate, obviously, just mentioned that you were at the club for 15 years. That's a long time, the vast majority of your life so far. I guess there was a great kind of sense of pride when you were coming through the academy, especially, not many players do make it into the first team. Can you talk to us about the start of your journey and how Blues found you and how you came to the club?
Yeah, definitely. So I started at Bourneville Lions, my local club. And then, naturally, in the 7s and the 8s, you get scouts coming down to, bring you into the academy setup if you're doing well. So, yeah, it was really that, to be honest. Started at Bourneville Lions, got scouted into Birmingham. To be honest, at the start, they weren't too sure about me, I was a bit raw, not too technically gifted, but, they took a chance on me and then it looked to prove out eventually.
I think one of the things that always struck me about you is your versatility. You played, I think, 3 or 4 positions or could play them quite comfortably. Did you start as a midfielder? Is that correct?
Yeah, so from the start I was midfield, but, naturally playing midfield at younger age groups, you can go forward, you can go back. So that probably had its hand going forward, being able to play at the back or being able to play in different positions, So, but ideally, from the start I was a midfielder, yeah, that's correct.
Who was the coach who said, "I'll take you, you look good as a centre-back"? I know you played a little bit of right-back as well. Who was the guy who kind of transitioned you first?
It was Mike Dodds, to be honest, back in the academy. He's quite a forward-thinking coach. He likes to play out from the back. So he thought, I got my presence, got my ability on the ball. He was the first one to say, you should probably think about playing the back, even though back then I wasn't really a fan of it. But going forward, it probably proved it's he knew what he's talking about. Being on the ball, playing the modern game. It lends myself to playing at the back.
Sorry, go on, Alex.
No, go on, Brian. Go on.
I was going to say, was it from the outside looking in, it always looks like it's quite a smooth transition. You come through the academy, you get your scholarship, you get your pro deal. Was it like that? What was it sort of a fairly easy step-by-step process?
To be fair, at a younger age group, it did seem like clockwork, just like next contract. But, as you climb the ladder and you get, closer to the business end, even though I'm sure of my ability, you are a bit unsure, like, I'm going to get this. But, as you said, it was quite seamless from going from scholarship to getting a pro to getting a couple more pros. It was, in the end, quite seamless. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Was there any prospect that you would ever go elsewhere at that stage or at any point in that journey?
To be honest, at Birmingham, they'd like to, during the academy, not really get you involved in agents. So it's things like hearing the external noise, you don't really get it to you. Maybe the club hears stuff and, if they're interested or if it's a good valuation, they might come to you. But if it's not really matching what they really want for you, then as a young player, you don't really hear about it unless you're, chasing agents, which at the time I wasn't really too interested in. I love Birmingham, so I was there from young. I didn't really want to be venturing out to go here, there and everywhere. So for me personally, no, it wasn't the case.
And at that point, you're making friends, aren't you? Lifelong friends as well through that process.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people still now who've left the academy 3-4 years ago that I'm really close to, and even the coaches, the ones that help you out, you stay in contact, you stick with them because they've got their best interest, my best interest at heart. So, as you said, you build friends through just being in the bubble.
Who would be the sort of players of the lads that you'd be friends with, or the coaches that you would credit with helping you on your journey most?
I would say early doors it was Carl Hooper. Obviously he's moved on now, but he's really influential from my perspective going through the academy. I was his first age groups under 10, and then I've literally had him from under 10, and I linked up back with him at under 18, so that shows the longevity that we've had together and the belief he had in me. He probably had the most belief in me at the club when he was there. Like, he really pushed me, so I really appreciate that from him.
Yeah, I'm going to show my age here, but I actually coached Carl when he was at school. in a primary school as well, not even secondary school, primary school. Yeah, we are. Yeah, all right. Thanks for that. Yeah, and he was in the Blues Academy himself, wasn't he? And he was a talented little player. Unfortunately, just a little bit too little, and I think that counted against him. But yeah, a good guy who's doing very well in his coaching career now.
Definitely.
Tate, you obviously had a couple of quite early loans, really, back in 2021. Obviously, a local one with Alvechurch, and then also Bromley in the National League at the time.
Yeah.
How did those two loans kind of shape you in that early part of your career?
To be honest, the Alvechurch one was more of a, go and see what men's football was about. I wasn't really playing stuff like that. I just wanted to be involved in the dressing room and training and mixing it with, more physical players. But the one that really helped me out was the Bromley loan. That season at under 23s, I was doing really, really well. I was playing, I was scoring from midfield, I was really enjoying my football. And then it just happened to be Roger Johnson was at Bromley down in South London, and then we played against Millwall, and I must have had a decent game. So that's when he picked me up and told me to, come down. And I feel like I really flourished on that loan, even though it wasn't there for too long because of the COVID season and things like breaking up and that. But I went down in April, season finished in July, and I think I did quite well.
I suppose it must be quite it's quite awkward, isn't it, the jump between the 23s and the first team. You kind of must get to as a player to a stage where you probably think you're too good for the 21s and probably ahead of it, but probably not quite there. So kind of, is it you that recognises that and says, I need to get a loan spell here, I need to do something different?
Definitely, with how under 23s football is now, it doesn't prepare you for, I would say, the championship, so it kind of seemed like a no-brainer to go probably drop down a couple of levels and play men's football. That's where you'll get seen, that's where you get probably further loans or further options. Or even when you come back to Birmingham, managers will look at you saying, okay, he's playing men's football at a young age, that he's probably ready to, if he's good enough to mix it with us. Whereas if you're just doing well in the 23s, that's all good, but it's kind of not real football, So if managers won't trust you as much as someone who maybe isn't as good, but has gone to non-league and played 10, 20, 50 games, So for me personally, it was a no-brainer when I knew the interest was there.
On the back of that Bromley loan, you made your debut for the Birmingham City first team in a Carabao Cup tie against Colchester, August 21. I guess there must be kind of a great sense of pride as an academy graduate to come all the way through and then finally get that almost reward of a first team appearance. Yeah,
definitely. You hear about the statistic coming up, of joining from the start of the academy to making your debuts like something stupid, like 0.something%. So it was definitely a proud day for me. And as I said, all the coaches that put in the work, my family, my teammates, it was a proud day for us all, making that debut.
I guess you must keep a memento or something. I bet there's something you've got, isn't there, from that game, whether it's a shirt or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. My dad got the shirt framed, for him mostly. It was a big day for him, so I gave him the shirt. He's still got it at his house now, hanging up on the wall. So yeah, it was a proud day.
Tate, did you obviously, you I think you're a year older than Jude. What did you make of his sort of journey through Blues and then obviously to top of world football now?
Yeah, from the academy, he was pretty much playing with our age group from a young age, so I really got to know him quite well. I went to school with him as well. And it seems everything's so seamless for him, he takes it every big occasion, his debut, his first goal, his becoming a regular in the championship, to going to his move to Madrid, to Dortmund. It just seems like naturally he takes it in his stride. And I'd probably say that's his biggest strength, not getting intimidated by the pressure. A lot of young players probably have the ability, but it comes to the big stage and they'll probably hide from the ball, won't want to get the ball. With him, it seems like he's just so naturally present on the field, and he just looks like he belongs. He plays for England, and he looks like our best player. He looks like he played 100 games, So that's for me. That's probably his biggest strength. That's his biggest how he's done so well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's no hurdle too high for him, is there?
Exactly that. I watch play for England. It's like he's done it 100 times. And that, for me, that's like, wow, like how you so comfortable on the pitch, how you're so comfortable in that presence.
Yeah, but it seems, and obviously I don't know him personally, but been around him, but he seems very grounded as well, and just seems very totally unaffected by it all.
definitely. I think his parents have done a great job, and the club, Kristen Speakman, Mike Dodds, back in the day, they've done a great job at making him feel like, one, comfortable but not cocky. That makes sense, you know. He's confident but not cocky. Like he looks like he belongs, but he's not like, he's still nice to everyone. He's still, all the people he's grown up with, he still keeps in contact. So yeah, that's his that's just a testament to his character, you know.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Carrying on through that season, you made your championship debut under John Eustace, didn't you?
Yeah.
You think you were a 20 at the time. What do you remember? Do you remember much about that day in that game?
To be honest, yeah. Again, it was another big occasion. You know, like a lot of lads make their debuts in the cups and the EFL Cups or the FA Cup, but for me, the championship debut was always my goal. You know, to coming up through the academy is like, I want to play league football, even though I haven't played as much as I would have wanted. Obviously, that day was still proud for me because, you know, the championship football is not a lot of people get to that level, you know. So yeah, it's a really proud day for me.
Did you, I suppose, expect to kick on at that stage, given that you were 20? You'd obviously risen through the ranks, played 23s, gone out on loan, got some experience in men's football, and then had a few tastes of the first team by that point. Did you expect to get more opportunities?
Yeah, to be honest, that pre-season I feel like I've done quite well, you know, in training, and I really hit the ground running with John Eustace coming in. So going into the season and the start of the season, I probably didn't play as much as I thought I could have, if that makes sense. But again, that's just football, isn't it? But yeah, when I finally made that debut, I thought maybe I could go forward and get some more games in. But it was after that injury started to hit, stuff like that. So it just set me back quite a bit.
There was a bad back injury, wasn't there, towards the end of that season, midway through, towards the end, that ruled you out for a while, wasn't there?
Yeah, so it was the fractured back, and then it was the numerous hamstrings. That they obviously hamstrings, the 6, 8, 12 weeks. So you try to build some momentum, as you said, making my debut in the championship, trying to think, let's kick on now. And then a couple of weeks later, my hamstring starts pulling and stuff like that. So it was just bad timing. But again, that's just part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, the club clearly saw something in you because they renewed your contracts last summer in 23, and then you went obviously into pre-season with the first team, went to Spain. I remember you impressed in those early pre-season games. I can't think of it, against Solihull and the one out in Spain against FC Cartagena, I think. How did you view that pre-season? Was that a chance for you to kind of state your claim and get in the first team? But then I remember not long after you came back from Spain, you went out on loan again, didn't you? Yeah,
definitely. So obviously pre-season is a chance to for a lot of young players to impress the manager. You know, even when the squad's not fully built yet, there's a lot of young lads up there to get game time, get training, to have some one-on-one time with the first team. So as you said, I've done well in a couple of games, but I kind of knew after the injuries on my hamstrings all last year, I knew that I probably need to go and play some games just to get some confirmed football, you know. So that was the decision for me to go out back to Bromley, to be honest. I could have stuck around and, you know, tried to wait for my chance like I did last year, but I could have gone through a whole season not playing, so I just thought I had to go out and take the risk.
Were there injuries at Bromley, Tate? Because I think about midway through, when I was at the training ground, you were there quite a lot. You know, you were in the gym, and then you also kind of went back out onto the pitch to train with the first team at times as well. Yeah, so
that was the thing. I went to Bromley to, you know, go get some games, and I thought my hamstring injuries were done from last year. I thought, like, I spent the whole summer last summer in no holidays, just to really push and make sure my hamstring's fine. But again, last pre-season game for Bromley, I had a worldie, playing quite well, and then 89th minute, hamstring's gone. And, you know, again, part of the game, but you build up momentum, you're thinking, okay, I'm ready for this season and get 30, 40 games in. And then the game before the start of the season, your hamstring goes, it just sets you back a while. So yeah, that was me done till pretty much January, February of this season. So again, I've missed a lot of football, and didn't achieve my goal of playing men's games.
So you say part of the game, but when it's happening to you, it can't be that, you know, that easy to cast off and just go part of the game. It must be demoralising at points, without putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, definitely. That was my 4th hamstring injury within the year. So that first pretty much week of your hamstring tearing, your head's just pretty much gone. You don't really want to think about anything. You're just thinking, like, why can this not? Because when it's not like ability based, it's just like your hamstring can't stay intact. You're thinking, like, I'm doing everything I can to get back on the pitch and get playing, and then boom, it's just your hamstring's gone and you just have to reset again. But after the first week, you just need to switch back on and get into, getting it back healed again, because you can't just sit around and sulk. You need to take action and get back to full fitness.
Did you ever get to the root cause of why it kept happening to you?
To be fair, with hamstring injuries, there were a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas of why it keeps happening. So with each one, we try to attack something new. The thought it may be my posture, maybe the way I'm running, but you never really know. You can all you can do is try and remedy things that you think potentially it is, and try and fix that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Keep ruling things out, and then until hopefully you sort of stumble upon the real cause. Yeah, the back, presumably. I mean, backs and hamstrings tend to sort of feed into each other. Do you think was that potentially a legacy problem there?
I had it fixed a couple of years ago, but that was more of a growing problem. So a lot of young boys, when they're growing up, 16, 17, 18, they've got like weak bones with calcium and vitamin D, stuff like that. So that was something pretty much age specific at the time.
Right. Okay.
No, I was just going to say, because you mentioned earlier in the last answer about kind of you're trying to work out why this injury keeps happening.
Yeah.
I suppose, and they thought it might be your running style and things like that. It can't be helpful for an athlete, especially someone who plays in the way that you do, to kind of be thinking about changing running styles and things like that.
Definitely, I would say my physical presence is one of my strengths. So for that to be what's almost killing me, it's similar with George Hall. He's so powerful, he's so quick, but with that you get hamstring tears all the time. So it's kind of like a catch-22. It's maybe a reason why I'm so quite a good player, but at the same time it's then also killing me, because being so powerful, being so explosive, it gives you a bigger risk of hamstring tearing.
What was Tate? I mean, you're obviously around the club last year.
Yeah.
From a reporting perspective, it was absolute carnage. When you count the managers, I think 6 if you include all the interims, including Steve Spooner, obviously for a game.
Yeah.
What was it like behind the scenes, like in training, going from? I mean, obviously the big one was going from John Eustace to Wayne Rooney, and the changes that would have happened almost overnight.
Yeah. To be fair, with John Eustace, he was very why we did so well was very regimented. Everyone knew their job. Everyone knew what they had to do, things like that. And then Wayne came in, and obviously he's had success elsewhere, I'm not sure, but he came in and tried to change the style. He tried to get us playing football, which everyone wants to be playing football, nice football, but you need to work with the tools you got. Under John Eustace, we had the tools to play that way. We're doing well with 6 in the table. Not hard to be, not a deep block, not sitting defensively, but we allowed pressure to then counter-attack going forward. Like you think of the game last year against West Brom, that was a John Eustace clinic. Sit in, invite the pressure, then counter-attack with Bakuna, with Dini, with Hogan. We knew our jobs, we knew what we had to do. And then Wayne came in, and I can't speak too personally on why we weren't winning because I wasn't playing, but it seemed like all these new ideas mid-season, it's difficult, for any manager. I'm not digging out Wayne. For any manager, coming in mid-season, it's going to be difficult to totally switch the way we play from inviting pressure to counter-attack to being ball dominant and trying to break teams down. That's just for any team, for any situation, that's going to be difficult, isn't it? So,
Did you? I was going to say, I mean, one of the kind of things is obviously, the emphasis on keeping the ball and possession-based, and doing a lot of passing and possession drills in training. Did you kind of notice that swing? Was there more of an emphasis when Rooney came into that, or was there always an emphasis? Because I remember when I spoke to John Eustace at the start of pre-season, he made it clear to me that he was putting emphasis on being better on the ball and keeping the ball. So did it suddenly go from we're not doing a lot of this to now this is kind of all we do?
Yeah, definitely. Under John Eustace, there was a lot of, as much as there was the possession and stuff like that, there was a lot of this is your job instruction and a lot of shape going on. This is where you have to be. This is what you have to do. We're trying to work on patterns of play, which obviously we need to, and we did before, but it went from being defensive right before to now trying to take it to teams. And whereas if you do that, that's fine, but you might lose a bit of the defensive shape that we were so strong on, and which gave us success. So I did notice a big change in the training styles. But with any manager, when Mowbray came in, when Rowett came in, each manager has each unique way of training, but I did notice a big swing. Yeah, that's correct.
Tate, sorry, go on.
No, go on, Brian, go on.
Sorry, Tate. Of all the first team managers you've had at Blues, Which one did you feel was most into you? You get a vibe off, this manager believes in me, sees what I can do. Was there one that particularly you felt, he's got a bit of faith in me, I'm going to get my chance here?
I would easily say John Eustace. The pre-season he came in, I definitely made an effort to show him what I can do in the early games. So John Eustace and his team, like Keith Downing, believed me quite a bit, and also guards. They were, I think they were top coaches. And I would definitely say out of all the coaches, all the managers I dealt with, it was definitely that group that really saw something in me.
Yeah. So had you been able to stay fit, you think you'd have had more games and more opportunities and stuff like that?
Definitely, I was always involved. I was always a part of the sessions, So I feel like eventually it was maybe a waiting time, just a matter of time before it happened. With, in football, injuries happen all the time. So maybe if someone else got injured, I could have been next in line, Or even if it was to go on loan to come back for the next season, I feel like they had sort of had a plan for me, But the way things go, it just didn't materialise.
It's always, when it's presented at the end of the season that player X has been released, it always sort of comes across as, the club doesn't want this player anymore.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming, or was it more of a sort of a mutual process? Would you say in your situation?
Not in my case, no. I could definitely see it coming from, I've come back from injury and I've come back to Birmingham. I knew my time was almost up, but to be honest, if I'm being really honest and being really truthful, I feel like I could have got X a year ago, 2 years ago, So I'm grateful to Craig Gardner to, just sticking with me for the injuries and stuff like that. So I know how football is. Players better than me get injured and then end of the season they're done, So I feel like I was almost on borrowed time with my injuries and my how I've gone so far in my career. So I'm almost grateful that I got this long. But yeah, I definitely knew it was coming towards the end of the season, just with how football is,
How do you feel about that now? Are you frustrated at your own body, or sad, or proud that you've achieved what you did achieve? Because as you said, 0.whatever% don't even get there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of mixed emotions. I'm probably I'm the last one in my age group, which is it's worth only so much, because I haven't made it to the top. But even things like that I'm proud of, But at the same time, it's almost like a what if, because as you said, my injuries didn't happen at certain times, or key things didn't happen at certain times. I could have pushed on. I could have been sitting here having a different conversation with you guys, So it's a bit of both, bit of mixed emotions.
What's next for you, Tate? What's the plan now?
I'm still deciding whether I want to carry on playing football, with just the injuries and how it's gone. I think if I'm going to play, it'll be at like a part-time capacity, maybe just to get back enjoying it. And you never know, if I drop down to a level that's too easy for me, I could shoot back up into the league. But for now, I just want to focus on other things and go into business, things like that. So I'm going to do that and potentially play part-time if it's right for me. If not, then I would just leave the football there and just crack on with life, to be honest.
Without asking you to tell us your business plan, is that something you've always been interested in, that kind of side? Is that something you would have learned at school?
Yeah, definitely. I've always known, I've loved football, and football has always been my passion, but I've also known there's so many ways to be successful other than football, even though, when you're in the football bubble, it might not seem so obvious, it's presented to you that, it's this or nothing. But I've always known that I'm a smart lad, I can find ways to be successful outside of the game. So as I said, if the right option comes up for me and the right deal comes to me, then I'll play in some sort of capacity. If not, then I can just, thankful for the career I've had, thankful for the opportunities and the life I've had so far, and then try and move on and do something else.
Do you see yourself playing for fun, like when you're 35, or going into coaching or anything like that? And I know at your age that probably seems a lifetime away, but how do you see that relationship with football going forward?
To be honest, I probably need to give it more of a think. I think I need to get back enjoying it again if I was going to do stuff like that. Coaching, I'll probably say not for me, just because of the politics in football, which I don't really love. But in terms of playing again, I think I need to find a spark if I am gonna, as you said, play for fun and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. You never know what life brings. I might get to that age and think, well, I've missed playing football, and get back into it. So we'll have to see.
When was the last time you really enjoyed football, Tate? It's a bit of a deep question, I know, but when was the last time you said you really enjoyed it?
I would say probably before, all the hamstring injuries. Before then, as I said, I was doing well in training. I was made my debut in the championship. I would say probably about then it was like, I'm really enjoying this. It's the life for me. But with the injuries and the politics and all this stuff combined, it's quite a lot, So that's just personal. I know it's gonna sound crazy to fans, who would give their literal left arm, right arm to be in my position, but just when you're in it, it's a lot to keep getting setbacks, to keep getting, told no, or keep getting told like 6-8 weeks before you can go back and run again. It's a lot, So for me personally, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
You've got to be happy in life, haven't you, Tate?
100%. That's my focus going forward.
Yeah.
As I said, you can be successful and happy doing whatever in this world. So football's only one way of that, and I've got so far. So it may seem almost silly or delusional to now give up, but for me personally, it's just I know what I need to do to be happy, and that's what life's all about.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So I really hope you get back to enjoying football again in whatever capacity, and obviously wish you the best with your business idea and whatever that is. We'll be following your career in two fields going forward. Thanks for coming on. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please subscribe, hit like on YouTube, and obviously on all the podcast platforms. Really appreciate you all listening. Thank you everyone. Big keep on from all three of us.